I want to get something in your brain. You are running a business. One of the fundamental flaws most real estate agents have is they don't see themselves as businessmen and women. They see themselves as realtors. Everybody understand? Because this is very critical to helping you understand how to build and grow a business. You got to get out of your brain, you're just trying to find another deal. And get into your brain that you are running a business that has to generate leads. Those leads have to be worked to completion. You are then servicing customers. The way you service those customers heavily predicates whether you get more customers. Does that make sense? But the fundamental mistake most realtors make is they say, well, I'm just a realtor. I'm just trying to find a deal. I'm just trying to do one deal. And the reason that's a problem is you don't step back and look at your business as a business. Okay? That business brings in revenue, brings in money. You then have expenses. You then have taxes. After you have expenses and taxes, you then have what you personally make. No different than my business. Does that make sense? But it is all predicated on generating new customers. And this is really a big part of what we're going to be coaching you on month after month is how do we go out and fill our pipeline with more leads? How do we work those leads to maturation? How do we extract more leads out of that? And really, to be honest with you, how do we move to an offensive mindset versus a defensive posture? The typical real estate agent gets up, goes to their office, or goes somewhere, a coffee shop or to office, and there's a lot of just waiting on something to happen. We're waiting on a person to tell us they want to buy or sell a house. We wait on something to happen. And I got to get in your brain that selling is that's not how you generate more sales. The way you generate sales is you take high levels of initiative to create something happening. So I want you to think of selling as making outbound efforts to people to basically share an idea with them. Okay? That's what selling is. It's initiative. It's presenting an idea to another person. Okay? They may or may not like that idea. They may or may not be interested in that idea. So let me give an example. I own a condo in Panama City Beach, Florida. We rent that condo out because I believe in short-term rentals. And so we have a house in Seaside, Florida, which is a big house, 9-bedroom house that we rent. Then we have a little 2-bedroom condo on the ocean, and we love it. Well, throughout the course of me owning that condo, because association fees are high, because there's a lot of saturation in the market, we don't make a lot of money with that condo. So it comes up from time to time that we may potentially want to sell that condo. So my wife and I go back and forth. Our daughter loves it. We love it. But we're really not making any money with it. We got a house 30 minutes down the road in Seaside, which is much bigger and nicer. Like why would we own the condo if it's not making any money? Does that make sense? So we contemplate selling it. Now, I didn't tell you that I was ready to sell it or I wanted to sell it. I told you I was contemplating selling it. There is one real estate agent in Florida. I don't even know who he is, what he looks like, what firm he represents, but somehow he got my cell phone number. Okay? So about every few months, I get a text message from this real estate agent who says, Coach Burt, he went online and studied who I was. He's read my books, and he said, Coach Burt, I believe at this moment we could get $350,000 for your condo. Now, at one time, because of the market, the price of that condo went all the way down. The value of that condo went all the way down to $290,000. We bought it at $350,000 at the peak of the market. Everybody with me? I had 4 business partners on that. I bought all of my business partners out, so I own it 100%. So we're sitting there thinking about it, and this person is texting me going, I think today we could get $350,000 for it. Everybody follow me? Now, is he presenting an idea to me, yes or no? Yes. Could every other real estate agent in Florida present the same idea, yes or no? Yes. But only one of them out of all of the agents has initiated any type of contact with me at all to present that idea. So if he catches me on the right day, I may go, look, put it on the market and let's sell that puppy. Right? He just creates a commission for himself. He just sells something for me. And who knows? I may say, we really like it, but we want to look at another place. Or we may come back and get another condo. Or where's there a good deal we could purchase something else and he could represent us on. See, most agents don't think like this though. They think I'm going to wait on something to happen. I'm going to wait on somebody in my network to tell me they want to buy or sell a house. They don't initiate. If I were a real estate agent and I went to work with Next Home tomorrow, you know what I would do? I would pick up the phone, and every day I would come into it with a list of people that I was calling on, presenting ideas to them. Hey, I don't know if you're interested in this. I don't know if you're interested in this. I don't know if you're interested in buying or selling, but I just found something that you could be interested in. So just think about this. It's initiative. It's taking initiative, okay? And it's trying to create a sale versus waiting on something to happen. You could wait on something to happen, and it could happen. But there's a whole lot more things you could be doing to create something that would happen. So you're going to hear people say, work your power base. Your power base are just people who already know you. And I would tell you, if your friends are not using you for real estate, then there's some consideration they have about you. You understand what I'm saying? If your relatives are not using you for their real estate needs, there's some consideration they have about you. If your partners out in the community or people you go to church with are not using it for their real estate needs, there's some consideration. You need to remove that. And the way you remove that consideration is, I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm in the real estate profession. And here's my plan. Here's who I am. Here's what I believe. Here's what we do. And at any time you plan on buying or selling or building or financing real estate, I don't want you to talk to anybody but me. Do you currently have somebody that represents you? Well, I have somebody. How often do you talk to them? Has it been a good experience for you? I want you to start thinking offense versus defense. Does that make sense? Offense versus defense. Now, does anybody remember any of the stats I shared with you in the first session we did? Remember, I'm big on stats, and I'm big on stats because typically they paint a picture. If you remember in the first session, I said 67% of people use which real estate agent? Very first one. Now, I'm going to tell you, if we did something right now, let me ask Lakin. Lakin, how many people did you call this morning? All right, you made 20 outbound sales calls. How many answered the phone? 3 people answered the phone. Now, this is indicative of how most real estate agents operate. Okay, one thing you can do, be accessible. Be accessible. Be accessible. Call people back fast. If they're calling you for a reason, right? So remember I said 67% of people use the very first person that contacts them. Second thing I said is it typically takes 7 to 15 touches, 80% of the time, to convert a prospect to a client. Everybody with me? So we got to have a good 7-touch system. Third thing I said was that every real estate transaction you do should be worth 5.7 referrals over the lifetime of the customer. Okay? And the fourth thing I told you was that 98% of agents never call a customer back once they put them in a home. So you see how much money we're losing? This is just money we're losing. Just money we're losing because we're not doing these things, okay? And that was really the premise of the first session, to say these are the things we're going to be coaching you on over the next 6 months. These are the areas we're going to help you get better. So from our first session, who made an adjustment? Who made an adjustment from our first session to our second session, i.e. went back and did something different than what they did before? Now, I'm an old basketball coach, and the good thing about being a basketball coach, if you didn't perform, then I could just sit you on the bench. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, if you want to play, then you need to do this, okay? If you don't want to play, just don't do it, okay? And it was good because the players that wanted to play, they would make adjustments. Now, in the real estate world, that's tough, unless you want me to start sitting you on the bench if you don't do something, right? But here's the deal. The greatest thing about real estate is the autonomy you have to go about your day as you please. The worst thing you have as a real estate agent is the autonomy you have. Does that make sense? You need structure. You need accountability. You need action. You don't need to just come and hear me talk and then go back and do nothing. Do the same thing you've been doing. Unless you want to keep getting the same results you're getting, right? Like you need to lock into something and go, I'm getting better at that one thing. I don't expect you to get better at everything, because I do give you a lot of stuff. But I do expect you to get better at one thing. Like take follow-up. I'm going to get better at going 7 touches in my follow-up. I'm going to do a better job of touching the customer after I sell a house. I'm going to do a better job of making this a unique experience so I get referrals. Like, I want to hear some feedback from you on what you shifted from your first session till now. Now, that organization, is that valuable for you, yes or no? Absolutely. Listen, when you lose a lead, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when there's an opportunity and we miss it, and a person says, well, your team didn't call me back. Or so-and-so said they were going to call me 3 days ago and they never did. Or this. I'm like, look, as a sales professional, that's lost money out of your pocket. Okay? So if you're not tracking your leads and you're not looking at your leads, and when you tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm going to call you back tomorrow or next week, listen, you need to understand those leads are like gold. They are incredibly valuable. Sometimes we forget how valuable those leads are. You never know. That could be 10 deals on the other end of that phone call or that text message, right? So better organization of where you track your leads, how you look at them, where are you in the 7-touch system, okay? That's very valuable. Most real estate agents don't do. They don't take the time to track their leads. You should be looking at everybody in your lead sheet every day. Where are you in the sales cycle? How often have you talked to them? Which strategies have you tried? We were working a lead yesterday. Person didn't respond. I shot a video for him yesterday. Still didn't respond. I tried to FaceTime him yesterday. He still didn't respond. This morning, first thing, he calls me back. He said, man, I noticed how hard you work to follow up with me. I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. I've just been busy, okay? A lot of people would have stopped after 1 or 2 touches. Notice I used different mechanisms. I called him. Chelsea called him. I shot a 1-minute video for him. Then I tried to FaceTime him. Now, let me tell you what I also did. I called one of his friends. And I said, hey, we're working on this guy. You know we can help him. He knows we can help him, but I need you to talk to him. So look at how many different ways I touched him in a very short period of time. Does that make sense? The longer a lead sits, it's called deal fatigue. The longer a deal is stretched out because you don't keep it in forward progress, the less chance you have of making it happen. Everybody see that? And you don't want deal fatigue to sit in. You want to jump on it and be right in there. When a person is interested, they're hot. They're hot. They could go cold by this afternoon. They're getting so much information, okay? All right, give me another thing that you did. Give me some progress, okay, right here.
I guess just implementing the top 25.
Okay, nice. Okay. All right, now, you said a key word, being more genuine with relationships. Here's the deal. What's the likelihood of me referring you or using you multiple times if I don't think you care about me as a person? Does that make sense? Now, let me give you an example. I've done real estate transactions before where after the transaction was over, I got automated drips, I got absorption rate of subdivisions, I got one person brought me a pumpkin every Halloween. One real estate agent brought me a pumpkin every Halloween. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, right? But here's what I wanted to say to him. What I really want you to do is to care about me as a person. Like get involved in my life. At that time, I was the head coach at Riverdale, coaching girls basketball, which is an incredibly difficult job. I mean, you try dealing with 14, 18-year-old kids and their parents. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's very important to you, like who supports you, who's there for you. And so I was like, if the agent really cared about me, he could come to a basketball game and support me, or he could be involved in my life some. That's a whole lot better than him sending me a pumpkin on Halloween. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So I didn't have this warm feeling like this is somebody I want to push to other people. So when you said genuinely caring about these people, spending time with them, you know, one methodology I say a lot is slow down to speed up. Okay, when I'm with true great relationship builders, I mean true really good relationship builders, they're totally focused on you. They're great with their time. They're in no hurry or rush. You understand what I'm saying? They really value that relationship. You got to get out of the transaction business, okay? All right, give me one more. Give me. Okay. Good. There you go.
Stick to it. That helped me a lot.
Okay.
Just kind of not letting somebody else plan my day or
That's right.
whatever.
That's right.
Just making that
See, when you say to me, I have a time management problem, which a lot of people say, I'm going to say back to you, no, you just have a confusion about time and what is the most important thing of your time. The purpose of any business is to create a customer. Everybody understand that? That is the whole purpose of your real estate business. Okay? Is to generate new business. The whole purpose of your business is to create new business. Does that make sense? So when you load a bunch of things in your day that have nothing to do with generating new business, then in my opinion, you have a confusion of what is a priority of your business. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So you're doing this, and you're doing this, and you're doing this, and you're doing this, and you didn't do anything to create a new customer. A high percentage of your day, and I'm trying to get you to do a minimum of 2 hours a day that is generated, that is focused on nothing but new money generation. Okay? Now, when that time comes, all kinds of things are going to come up. You're going to say, well, I don't feel like doing it today, and it's sun's finally out, so I'm going to go do this, and I'd rather do this, and well, I'm going to deal with this, and well, I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to go right now and get something to eat. Here's the deal. When that time comes for you to focus on new money, that is your livelihood. That's how you earn income. Does that make sense? So you have got to understand that part of generating new customers is spending time daily. I call it taking your vitamins. You're taking your vitamins that make you healthy, wealthy, and wise in your business. Okay? So when I come into a day, as I've showed you, I have a full list of people to call on every day. I don't wait till I get there that day and try to figure out what I'm going to do. When I come into the day, my day is already preset. When I have any free moment, this morning we took a meeting over in Columbia with a bank, and on my way back, I'm sitting there text messaging, calling, making outbound phone calls. Now, what could I do? Well, we could talk about the weather. We could talk about kids. We could talk about what we're doing this weekend. We could listen to the radio. We could play on Facebook. There's all kinds of things we could do. But is that helping our business grow? No. What's helping our business grow is text messaging, phone calling, shooting videos. You follow what I'm saying? I got to get you in this mindset that you're a cheetah, not a turtle. Cheetahs attack. Cheetahs are on offense, okay? Now, when I first started my business 11 years ago, I went from being a high school basketball coach to starting a business. Now, how many of y'all transitioned from doing something else to this? Raise your hand. Okay, almost everybody, right? You were doing this. You said, I'm going to go over here in the real estate world, okay? Now, the first thing I figured out after I started my business was I did not have a systematic way to generate leads and customers. Everybody see that? And I want you to work through this handout. This handout we're going to go with for the next 5 months. So we're not going to cover everything in the handout. We're going to cover certain things today, and then we're going to keep building. So here's the first big realization I had. I did not have a systematic way to acquire leads. If I ask you right now, how do you get customers? And you could not tell me number 1, 2, 3, 4 strategies, then you do not have a systematic way to generate customers. Is everybody with me? Okay? So the first thing I had this realization that you got to come to is, man, I don't have a good plan to generate new leads. I just don't have a good plan. And if I do have a plan, it's not connected. Like I'm doing all these random things, and I'm doing a little bit of this, and I do a little bit of this, and I do a little bit of this, but it's not, like how much peace of mind do you have about your plan to get customers? Right? Like you know, every day we're working that system. Every day we're working that system. So the first big realization is that I didn't have a structure and I didn't have a sales cycle to go do this. Now, this was confusing for me because I was a former basketball coach. We had a system for everything. We had an offensive system. We had a defensive system. We had set practice times. We had set weightlifting times. Like everything was on a schedule. Does that make sense? Then I start my business and it's just random. Like what are we supposed to do? Like, how are we supposed to get customers? Well, people give you very vague advice. Like, we got to get your name out there. You got to get your name out there. Then you're here, well, you got to cold call 100 people a week. Then you got to call all your friends and family members and tell them they need to be doing business with you. Then you got to join the Chamber of Commerce or something like that, right? You got to join some group. And this is the kind of vague advice people were giving me. I'm like, there's got to be a plan. Well, what I found out when I started looking for plans is very few people had a prospecting system. Most people have a system that tells you what to say when you get in front of a person, but they don't tell you how to do what? Get in front of more people. So I'm sitting there like, well, surely to goodness, some salesperson, and they were very vague. Work your power base. Work this. I'm like, well, what else is there to do this? So 11 years ago, I sat down and I began designing a system, which is I'm going to be teaching you. Does that make sense? That system has helped me grow 30 to 40% year over year for the last 11 years. Everybody follow me? And sometimes it's helped me grow more than that. All the top agents I coach that use this system grow their business, okay? And it is a system, which means it's going to build on each other. So you know how basically how you got to learn to subtract and add before you can multiply, okay? So I want you to fill these blocks in, okay? The purpose of any business is to create a customer. Just fill this in as we're going. Just like the pastor on Sunday, he's filling in the blanks in the church. Purpose of any business is to create a customer. Every action we take will either drive up the probability or drive down the probability. Every action we take. Now, how many of you took actions today that had absolutely nothing to do with driving up the probability of making a sale? This is the time to be honest with me. If I followed you around for a day, and I'm like, what are you? No, we don't stop for ice cream at Dairy Queen at 9:30. Like, that has nothing to do with getting a customer. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? Listen, every action you take is either moving you closer toward selling something or further away from you selling something. Everybody understand what I'm saying? So it's a game of probability. If I take very few actions during the day, now, there's a time to hang out with your buddies, there's a time to have friend talks, there's a time to do all that stuff. But when you're working, you have got to say the purpose of my business is to generate new money. New money, new money, new money. And I can either drive up the probability or drive down the probability. Now, we had a salesperson here one day that sold something to us. Okay? Now, I'm very observant. So I watch how people spend their time. I watch how my employees spend their time. And I'm asking, are they goofing off? Are they doing personal text messages to people? Are they prepared? And I watched a salesperson come over here one day from a vendor that sold us something. Okay? He spent all of his time while somebody else was working, talking to my employees. 30, 40 minutes. And I'm sitting there like, if I was your boss, okay, you're supposed to be doing what? You're a salesperson for the company. What are you supposed to be doing? So tell me how sitting there talking for 30 or 40 minutes to somebody is selling something. Because he wasn't talking about selling. He was talking about a diet. Right? Now I'm sitting there saying there's an appropriate time to talk about a diet, but it ain't right in the middle of the workday. What you should be doing is, so he wasted 40 minutes having a conversation about a diet when he's being paid to do what? Sell. And he's paying himself to sell, by the way. So guess what? We can't get that 40 minutes back. He can't go back and get it back. It's gone. It's a lost opportunity. It's a cost opportunity. So I want you to think during the day, and real estate agents are terrible about this. They'll spend time doing all kinds of things, but doing the number one thing they should be doing, which is creating new business. Okay? So we can drive it up or we can drive it down, all right? Therefore, there is a difference between a high value of time and a low value of time. There's a big difference between a high value of time and a low value of time. Much, if not all of our days should be spent around one thing. What is it? Creating new business. Selling. Right? Yeah. I mean, seems basic, but you got to start delineating between a high value of your time and a low value of your time. So, therefore, a low value of your time is a non-money generating activity. It's a non-money generating activity. A low value of your time is a non-money generating activity. Playing on Facebook, goofing off, talking to friends in the middle of the workday. These are low value activities. High value activity is a money generating activity. A high value activity is a money generating activity. Everybody see that? Now, based on what I've told you so far, how many of you would say you participate in low value activity during the day? Raise your hand. Yeah. Now, I'm not telling you for 8 straight hours you got to be on the phone selling people and not have a life and not enjoy lunch. What I am telling you is we got to get real clear about how you invest your time during the day. I try to build sales organizations. That means I want you constantly focused on selling something. Okay? Too many people are operational organizations where, I was coaching a wellness center in Houston the other day, and they brought in the other management team, and it was 18 operational people and 2 salespeople. And I'm like, unless all these people are selling something, why do we need 18 operational people when we got 2 salespeople? It ought to be flipped. We need 18 salespeople and 2 operational people. You see what I'm saying? Like, we need to be selling something, okay? So you got to get in your brain that at least 2 hours every day. So how many of you committed last time to 2 hours a day of prospecting? Be honest. Okay? Some of y'all? Now, how many of you are going to commit when we leave here today? Raise your hand. Okay? Brian, I'm looking at you. What are you scared of? Huh? Don't matter. Here's the deal. You don't need your license to talk to people, do you? No. Okay. You can be talking to people right now, just talking to people. Just talking to them. See what I'm saying? Here's one thing I want you to get in your brain. Never let another person stand between you and your destiny. Never place your destiny in somebody else's hands. Okay? So I want you to get a brain is talking to people, associating people. And I'll be telling them I'm working on my real estate license right now. Hadn't got it yet, but I'm going to be getting it pretty soon. And when I do, I'm going to go and earn your business. See what I'm saying? We don't wait. Nothing has to happen for you to take action. You got to get out of your brain. Well, this has got to happen, and this has got to happen, and this has got to happen. I got to have a perfect script before I call anybody. Well, I'm kind of nervous on the phone, so I don't pick up the phone and call anybody. Nothing has to happen for you to start something. Nothing. Well, I got to wait on the, my wife was starting a new diet in January. She said, well, I'm going to wait till after the cruise because we're going on a cruise. And I'm like, they got healthy food on the cruise. You ain't got to wait till after the cruise to start a new diet if you want to start a new diet. That just comes down to choice. They're going to present you with a bad choice and a good choice. Now, we got to decide which one we're going to take. Okay? It don't matter what part of the world we're in. You understand what I'm saying? So, for you, we got to pick up the phone. So, in my opinion, it starts with this right here. It starts with, number one, getting clear about a dominant focus. So, a dominant focus is a single, tangible outcome. A dominant focus is a single, tangible outcome. So, that means it's a number. Okay? And it can be two things in your world. It could really be a couple things, but I would say it's either a unit number of units sold, or it's a volume number. Now, someone asked me yesterday, could it be a lead number? Of course, if you want to make it a lead number, but here's the thing, it's got to be what? A tangible number. Okay? Now, we take that big number. Does everybody have their number for this year? How many houses you'd like to sell? Okay? We take that number and we break it down to a monthly number. And we say, within the next 30 days, this is what we have to do. If I want to sell 24 houses, I got to sell 2. I got to sell 2 a month. Today's January 30th, right? How many more days you got in this month? Here's the deal. You better get to selling something. But here's what I don't want. I don't want to wait till the 30th to go, man, I got to turn it on. I got to turn it on, try to sell something today. I do it every day. Chop wood and carry water every day. I prospect every day. Every day. Every day. I don't care. I don't care how much we brought in. I don't care how much money we made. Every night I go to bed tired and I wake up hungry. I go to bed broke and I start over 0 every day. I actually think all agreements, and at some point in the future, all agreements are, you're going to see agreements with companies go every 90 days. People are going to say, we're going to evaluate every 90 days. If it ain't working after 90 days, we ain't moving forward. That's where the future's going. A lot of the big companies are already doing that, 90-day contracts. It forces people to perform every 90 days. If they don't perform, they get fired. You understand what I'm saying? So for you, when you're thinking about your monthly number, now the reason this is important for your time management issue is when you're doing activities, I would ask you this question. Is that moving you closer to your number or away from your number? Every action you take. So when you say, I got a time management problem, I'm trying to get everything in, there's just too many things to do in a day. No, you got a confusion of priority. This is your number one priority. Hit that number. Everything you do in a day should be toward hitting that number. Everything. Every action you take should be hitting that number. Okay? And so I got to get real clear with you. So I'm asking you to do a minimum of 2 hours a day of nothing but focusing on new money, new business. Okay? Any questions so far? So I got my dominant focus. Does everybody know where they are today in relationship to their number? Now, pop quiz. You sell it today. You sell the house today. You get a contract today. But you don't collect, you don't close on it for 60 days. When did you sell it? Now, there's two things, because this trips a lot of people up. I focus on total contract value. And the reason I focus on total contract value is because I set a big number to hit every 30 days, and I push toward that number of sales. Okay? That doesn't mean I'm going to collect on all that money. I'm just going to sell that in that 30-day cycle. And then I'm going to collect on it at some point in the future. So here's the deal. If you want to hit 24 homes, you need to sell or have under contract 2 houses a month. Every month. And if you hit 2 a month, you're going to have 24 homes sold. Does that make sense? You may not collect on some of that money from December on into January, February, but you still sold 24 houses. Everybody see that? Okay? Now, right now I want you to stop and I want you to write down what you would consider your top 4 strategies that you use daily to hit your number. I want you to write up your top 4 things or activities that you currently do to generate a sale. Okay? Top 4 things you currently do to generate a sale. Just take a minute and write that up. See, part of coaching is helping you come into clarity. So if you came to me individually and wanted me to coach you, and you said you're not hitting your sales goals, the first question I'm going to ask you is how many leads are you getting every week? And you're going to tell me, well, I'm getting 4, 6, 8, 10. Then I'm going to ask you this question, is that enough for you to hit your goals? And you're going to tell me what? Not even close. Then I'm going to ask you, how many strategies are you currently using to generate leads? And you're going to give me a number. Well, I'm doing 1 thing, I'm doing 2 things. Then I'm going to ask you the same thing Dr. Phil made a fortune asking people. How's that working for you? And you're going to tell me it ain't working because I'm not closing enough deals. Now, so let's backtrack it. You're not closing enough deals because you don't have enough opportunities, because you don't have enough leads. And you don't have enough leads because you don't have enough strategies. Does that make sense? You're not pulling enough levers. Okay? So as a coach, I would go into a game. Have you ever seen coaches go into a game and they got these big long play sheets, football coaches, and they hold these big sheets and they're big, right? Those are plays. And why do they have that many?
Because the 4 won't cut it.
What if it don't work? You think they just go, well, let's just keep doing it? What they do is they just keep going down that sheet. So, okay, we tried, it didn't work. We tried again, it didn't work. We tried again, it didn't work. What do? They say, okay, let's go to a different play. They try that play. Does it work? Yes. Does it work? No. They go to the next play. They just keep going. Well, as a business owner, how many plays do you need to be running? As many as it takes to hit your number. Everybody with me? All right, so let me give you an example. Today's the 30th. My sales goal every month is $875,000 of sales, of total contract value, which means I'm trying to sell $10.5 million of coaching in a 1-year cycle. Everybody follow me? Okay? If we don't hit $875,000 in January, then I could go back out in February and do the exact same thing I did in January. Or I could say, you know what? We need to pull some more levers. Everybody see how I'm adjusting? So what I may say is we need to tighten up that strategy. We need to add 3 more strategies to this. You follow what I'm saying? What I would not do is just come back out in February and do the exact same thing I did in January, which is what a lot of real estate people do. So the first thing I could tell you, I don't know how many people you're talking to in a day, but the number 1 thing I would probably tell every one of you is for every 30 people you talk to, only 4.8 of those people are going to be open and interested. So if you ain't talking, so most people in the room are not talking to enough people. You're just not talking to enough people. You follow what I'm saying? So you don't even have enough opportunity to close enough deals to hit your numbers. Can everybody come to that realization? Now, if you looked at your top 4 and those 4 are shaky, you may have 1 good strategy that you're using that's really producing leads, or 2, I think you need 4 primary and a minimum of 2 secondary. I think you need a lot more strategy. So here's my next question. How much of your time are you spending in those 4 areas? How many people had a hard time coming up with 4 strategies? Okay? So number 1, you ain't got enough strategies. So when you hear me say, every day I got a hit list of people I'm calling on, that's a strategy. Does that make sense? Every day I got a farm club of people I'm trying to close. Those are people of indicated interest. That's a strategy. Every day I'm doing social media. That's a strategy. Every day I'm doing events. That's a strategy. Every day I'm taking business meetings face-to-face with people. That's a strategy. Tomorrow I'm getting on a plane to go to Miami to spend time with 25 people in a suite. Some of those we've not sold, but there's 35,000 people going to be at the conference. That's a strategy. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm just layering these strategies on top of each other. And I'm just pounding on top of these. And I'm going, nope, we need to add another one. Nope, we need to add another one. Nope, we need to add another one. Okay? So we don't have enough strategies. Okay? Now, anybody want to give me what their number 1 was, by the way? Give me one that you think's working. Yes? Okay, great. So one of her strategies is past clients. Okay, 98% of agents never call a customer back. So if she connects with past clients, there's an opportunity for referability. And here's what I say. I loved working with you. Who else do you think I need to be working with? Well, Yeah. Well, you need to be working with Jack. Okay. Well, would you give me Jack's number so I'll call him? Now, you're going to call Jack, and Jack's going to say, you know, I'm really not interested in buying or selling anything right now. We're completely happy. I understand, Jack. Can you tell me if you were to buy at some point in the future what you'd be interested in? Well, my wife really likes this side of town. You know, and if we were ever move in Murfreesboro, we'd move over to that side of town. So what you do to present an idea to Jack is you go find anything available in that, and every time something becomes available in there, you pick up the phone and you call Jack. Jack, I'd like to present an idea to you. I'd like to share an idea with you. Something just came available over in this subdivision. You know the house I live in now, I didn't even know the subdivision existed, and I've lived here for 17 years. I live in the Enclave, which is a private subdivision back behind Miramont Springs, separated by a creek. It's really beautiful, big 2-acre lots. I mean, it's a beautiful subdivision. And my wife and I were out looking at houses, and somebody presented an idea to us. They said, hey, have you ever seen the Enclave? It's like, no. What is the Enclave? Like, well, it's back kind of tucked away behind there. There's only 12 lots in the subdivision. Okay, we rode out there and immediately loved it because somebody presented an idea to us. You understand what I'm saying? You are in the business of presenting ideas to people. I don't know if you'd like this house or not, Jack, but I'd like for at least you to look at it. Who knows? His wife may love it. She may go, let's go ahead and buy that thing right now. You never know. So that's the kind of thing you got to be doing, okay? Somebody give me one more strategy you're using. Referrals. Say again?
Friends and referrals. Okay,
referral. Referral is, to me, is when great people tell other great people how great you were. So you got to be great. Right? You can't be average. You can't be average, and we'll get to that. I call every new customer a net promoter. They're not a net promoter yet. I'm just moving to a future state. And here's what I'm saying. When I'm done with you, you're going to want to tell other people about this. And then I want to move you to an advocate. And an advocate is a whole new level of fighting for each other. What I don't want is a passive or a detractor. A passive is, I did a real estate deal with you, and it was very average. What do you want me to go tell people? It was average? Right? I think I told you about the time that a real estate agent, a very prominent real estate agent, showed up and was asked to leave at the closing table. She showed up with a gift for the person, and the woman said, you've not been any help to me whatsoever. You willing here on 2 wheels to give me a closing gift when I haven't seen you, talk to you. I basically found the house, and she's like, I would like for you to leave. It's very awkward. She thought bringing in a closing gift was going to make it all better. Does that make sense? And that's not what's going to make it all better. I love these title companies that come in at the end. And I did a deal on something in a title company. It was a total disaster. And the owner of the title company called me and said, Coach Burt, we're trying to figure out what brand of vodka do you drink? Because we'd like to bring you a bottle of vodka at the closing table. And I'm thinking I would need a bottle of vodka to get over how miserable this deal was with you. Okay? Because it's a total disaster. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is not going to make this go away. I appreciate the thought and the gesture, but it ain't going to go away how awful the experience was. Okay? So just remember this, all right? Now, realization here is what? We don't have enough strategies. We're not pulling enough levers. Okay? So, we're going to start moving into the selling system. Okay? I primed the pump. Selling system is what? Give me a definition of a selling system, in your opinion.
A systematic approach to initiating the sales cycle.
That's right. A systematic approach to creating new business. These strategies are connected to each other. Everybody understand what I'm saying? It's not like they're random. They're all part of the same universe. So we try a strategy, and then we try this strategy, and we see which ones work. Okay? So part of the system is coming in every day and understanding this. Every day we start the day with a hit list. Every day we start with a hit list of people we believe we can help with our services. Every day we start with a hit list of people we believe we can help. Okay? Those people can be current people that you can help do something else with. They can be past people or past clients. They can be strategic partners, or they could be direct leads. How many of you at some point in the past purchased leads? Okay, all right, those will be hit list people. You don't know if they qualify, you don't know if they have any money, you don't know if anything. But I would tell you, never assume on a lead. Do you know that we have a guy in our coaching program right now paying $4.99 a month that last week was sleeping in his car in Toronto, Canada? He said, can I pay weekly? If you'll let me pay weekly, I'm in, because I got to change my life. I want you to think about it. Mortgage originator, sleeping in his car a week ago. See, don't assume about people. Don't look at a person and go, they can't do it, they don't have any money. We have kids that are 20 to 25 years old paying $25,000 a year for me to coach them. At 20 years old. Can you imagine spending $25,000 on your coaching at 20 years old? Let me tell you what I was doing at 20 years old, spending $25,000 on drinking. Right? Because I was in college. I wasn't thinking about spending $25,000 on my coaching. So it ain't about how much money they have, it's about how much ambition they've got. You follow what I'm saying? So for you, I start every day and I go, okay, who can I help today? That's my hit list. Everybody see that? Who can I help with my services today? Guess what? 270,000 people, Christian, you'd probably know this, 270,000 people in Rutherford County, 1.8 million people in Middle Tennessee. Could you make $1 million in Middle Tennessee? Yes or no? Yes. You don't say, like, who am I supposed to call? Who am I supposed to talk to? Hey, try this one, any human being. You could talk to any human being that's out there. Okay? So every day, John Floyd, when I work with Old South Properties, used to say this: if they don't live in a box or under a bridge and they're not homeless, at some point they're going to buy a house. And when they do, we want them to buy an Old South house. That was one of his sayings. At some point, almost every person on the planet is going to buy a house. Would you agree? Now, there's a big renter nation out there right now. There's a big push for people to rent and not own something. We're seeing that a lot. We're seeing more apartment complexes. I think Rutherford County's at a max on how many more apartments we can add. But so we're seeing a trend, especially from the younger generation from 20 to 30 that rent and don't own something. But at some point, I don't care how many times you hear that from people, you're going to want to own something. Right? You're going to want to own a house. So remember this: money changes hands when problems are solved. Money changes hands when problems are solved. Selling becomes easy when you understand this. Right? Now, let me just ask you, what are the problems that real estate agents solve for people? Because you got to get your mind around this. What problems prompts a person to buy or sell a house? Okay, throwing money away on rent. I can't build any equity, okay? Divorce. Family growth. That's right. Don't like where my kids go to school. Don't like my crazy neighbor. Don't like the size of the master bathroom. Don't like the size of my lot. Money changes hands. When I hear what your problems are, I just ask questions. Do you like where you live? Well, not really. Do you like the neighborhood? No. Do you like the school your kids go to? No, I really like for them to go here. Do you like this? Don't like the fact you're not close to the interstate? I listen. I ask discovery questions and I listen. And then I figure out, how can I solve this problem for them? Now, if Brian says to me, Byron, I'm sorry. Is it Byron or Brian? Byron. If Byron says to me, I don't like where I currently live, he didn't ask me to go find a house for him, but I took it as a cue to go find a house for him. Does that make sense? And I'm going to call Byron and say, Byron, I listened the other day when you said that you didn't go close to the interstate and you like going to Nashville. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to present you some options here. Selling is presenting people with ideas. They may or may not like those ideas. Everybody understand? Money changes hands when problems are solved. Money changes hands when problems are solved. Therefore, selling is merely solving problems for other people. Now, I'm going to give you an example. The other day, we're looking at building a building called the Greatness Factory, and we have the land to build the Greatness Factory, but it's very expensive to build right now. Very expensive to build a brand new structure from nothing. So I've been sitting on this because I got to raise investor funds and I got to build the building, and it's expensive to build the building. Then I'm considering, am I interested in buying a building and retrofitting that building to do what I want to do, right? And so I was talking about, I'm kind of not decided what I want to do. Well, my real estate agent heard me say that I was interested in potentially retrofitting a building, meaning buying another building and making it what I want it to. So he immediately picked up the phone and called his team members and said, hey, Coach Burt, any building that's available in Rutherford County, I want to get to Coach Burt. I didn't ask him to do that for me. He just heard me say it. Does that make sense? He took that as a clue because I got a problem. Problem is, it's very expensive for me to build a building right now and justify building a new building right now. So I got a problem. I want to build it, but I don't know if I want to spend that money to build it right now. So don't think, this is how it typically is. I got to pick up the phone. I got to call Roy. I can say, Roy, I'm thinking about doing this. Will you go around Rutherford County and find me a commercial building I could potentially buy? And here's how much square footage I need, because here's what I'm going to do with it. Here's the locations I'm looking at. Right? Don't think of it like that. Isn't that how most real estate agents think about it? Yes or no? I got to call you, make some request. You then go out and try to find something for me. If Roy was just talking to people all day long, he would hear the problems they have. And he could say, Coach Burt needs a new building. Let me go find one for him and present an idea to him. Does that make sense? Money changes hands when problems are solved. This morning, what was the bank? Farmers First? First Farmers? Here was the problem. They got a very aggressive leader, and they want to get the whole bandwagon. They want to get everybody being aggressive. That's his problem. He's like, look, I want all these people to have a selling system. I want them to be able to do this. All right, if I could solve that problem for you, would that be valuable for you? Yes, it would. Okay. Well, let's present an idea to you on how we can solve that problem. Everybody see that? It's that simple. Now, here's important. We can solve blue marlin problems, or we can solve blue gill problems. Everybody see that? What does blue marlin problems mean?
Game-changing problems.
That's right. You can sell a $179,000 house, or you can sell a $1.79 million house. Everybody understand? Still solving the same problem, guys. That's what you got to understand. You're still solving a problem for a person. So here's the best piece of advice. If you want to make money, you got to get around some people who's got some money. Right? If you're trying to represent all your friends and they ain't got any money, what kind of houses do you think they're going to be buying? You got to circulate where fish are biting. Does that make sense? I spoke in Chattanooga a few weeks ago, something called NoogaCon. They were 30 to 45 years old. They're making $200,000 plus a year. And when we got done, it was like a shark feeding frenzy. Right? Every conversation I was having was about $25,000 and above. So I go down to the VIP room, and I don't have to do anything. They're just coming over to me. Because it was I went to where the fish were biting. Does that make sense? We're having bigger conversations about more money. Okay? Just think about it. So what am I telling you? Where are you prospecting at? Who are you prospecting around? Who are you spending time with? Everybody see that? Okay? Now, any questions so far as we're building out the system? Okay, the hit list begins, so every day we come into a day, every day you come into a day, you should have a hit list of people you can do what? Help. You're going to initiate, the word initiate, initiative. So I'm going to take initiative. I'm going to call him and I'm going to present him an idea. That makes sense. He may or may not be interested in that idea. But I'm going to initiate. And if he's not interested, somebody else may be interested. Everybody with me? So every day I come into it, and I typically have a minimum of 3 to 7 people on my hit list every day. So I got 3 to 7 people every day, and I'm calling those people today. Everybody see that? Let me ask you how this question. Does NEXTHOME do a national convention? Okay. All right, good. So here's how this works. Kim, if this goes well for you, and I think it's going to, and we help your people get to a better place, I would love for you to help me get on a national stage with NEXTHOME. Okay? Everybody see that? That's a hit list conversation right there. Everybody see how easy that was? What did I do? Did I wait on her? Did I wait on NEXTHOME national office to call me? No. What I did is I said, hey, if we help you get to a better place in your life and we help your people and you enjoy it, I would love to share this message with other people around the country as part of this. Now let me tell you how this happens. She picks up the phone, calls her connection at the national office and says, hey, we're using this Coach Burt, this little firecracker back in Tennessee, this little bald-headed firecracker, and I think he would be great to speak at our national convention. We don't know if that's going to work out or not. Did I just create a potential lead, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Do you see how I initiated? Now, tell me why real estate agents don't do this. Lack of confidence. Listen, here, there is no such thing as rejection, remember? All they can do is say, I'm not interested. See, what you're doing is you're waiting. You're waiting on something to happen. You're waiting on somebody to call you. No. Hit list means I'm initiating. I'm going to call and present you an idea. Here's what I'd say. I don't know if you have somebody representing you when you buy, sell, build, or finance real estate, but I'd like to at least take a meeting with you and show you what we can do for you. Well, I've already got somebody I used last time. I understand. How often do you talk to them? Have you heard from them since the last time that you did a deal? Well, no, they never called me. Doesn't look like they're really that focused on you and your future if they never talk to you. That's not the kind of relationship I want to build. Okay? Now, do you think we're going to make a sale in that one call? No, but we're going to start. We're going to initiate something. Now, I'm not just going to do that with one person. I'm going to do it with 7, 8 people a day. Everybody with me? I'm going to initiate. Great real estate agents initiate. They don't wait. So my hit list initiates. Now, initiating starts by this one thing. Who do I want to attract back to me? Who do I want to attract into my life? So it's called an opportunity filter. How many of you have had a great client that you love working with? They loved you, you loved them. I mean, it was a great experience for both of you. Everybody have one of those before? Now, here's a question. I guarantee you they run around with other people just like them. Why haven't you gone back there and got some more? My business coach asked me once, what's the largest check you've ever cashed? And where did it originate? And why haven't you gone back there to get some more of those? Now think about that. At that time, the largest check was to home builders. Home builders were paying me the largest money in 08, 09. And he's like, well, is there not top 20 home builders in the country? Why are you not getting in front of the top 20 home builders? Or the top 200 home builders? He's like, why are you not going back there to get some more? Isn't that a great question? What's the largest commission check you've ever cashed? Where did it originate? Oh, it originated at a networking event. It originated through a family member. It originated here. Okay, how do you go back there to that pond and get some more? Everybody see that? Hit list, okay? So right now, I want you to write up. Here's what you're thinking. I love working with clients that give me energy versus suck my energy. I love getting big checks, right? And when you add those two things up, that's the best clients we could ever get. Now, along the way, you're going to attract a lot of crappy clients, okay? That's just part of being a baby star. But one of these days, you're going to get to the point where you say, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do this. Now, when you're looking at this, here's the hit list. So right now in your sheet, I want you to write down, I think it says in there on your hit list, the hit list begins with an opportunity filter. I want you to write down 3 or 4 characteristics of people you love working with. What is it about those people you love working with? Some people like working with first-time home buyers, and I know why, because they typically do what you tell them to. Yes or no? So they'll just run around like a little puppy. No, you got to do that. Okay, yes, that's good. Now work with a sophisticated buyer or seller and see if they do that. They're a lot more high maintenance. Okay, or as I like to tell my wife, high expectation. I'm not high maintenance, I'm high expectation. She would tell you I'm high maintenance. Okay, so write down 3 or 4 characteristics of people you love working with. And you can even write down, like, where do you think these people go? Where do they hang out? Where would you get in front of them? At one time, I was hired by a beautiful Jamaican woman who was a doctor, a very successful doctor. And I spoke at a conference for doctors in Miami, and this woman was just gorgeous. She's probably 40-something years old, tall, beautiful, just beautiful. And she come to me after it was over, and she said, I would like to hire you to be my business coach. And I hadn't coached that many doctors before, and I'm like, okay, great. So we scheduled a time for her to come to Nashville. She comes to Nashville. We go to dinner at the City Club, and I'm sitting there drawing up all the ways she can grow her medical practice, her business practice, okay? I think you need to do this. I think you do this. And she stopped me about halfway through my coaching, and she said, look, I didn't want to tell you this over the phone, but what I would really like for you to be coaching me on is how to pick up a man. So she flies all the way from Boise, Idaho. I'm in this meeting with her, and she's a very sophisticated doctor, and I'm like, what am I going to do, right? Like she's like, what am I going to do here? So I pull out a piece of paper and I draw up a sales cycle, and I said, okay, we're going to look at this as a sales cycle, okay? Tell me where you go where men would be interested in you. Like, tell me your schedule. Here's what she said. Well, I go to my practice every morning. And I said, she on a pain clinic. She said, see people all day long in a lot of pain. We help those people with pain. I typically go from there. I may go to the gym. Every now and then I go to the country club. And she said, that's pretty much my day. Pretty much I spend all of my day working. And I said, okay. Well, then if you're not going to date one of your patients, you're not circulating enough for people to know who you are. Does that make sense? Now, my point to her was this. You're not going to pick up a man by doing the exact same thing every day, going the exact same places where you don't even see a lot of men. Okay? Same thing is true of real estate agents that go to their office and sit there all day and don't do anything and get out and see people. 83% of all deals happen when you're out circulating. Does that make sense? So I think you need a period of your day that you're out prospecting and you're making outbound prospecting calls, and I think that needs to be at the office where the energy is. Then I think you need to get out and about the world. Now, is it join an association? Is it be part of a mastermind group? Is it be part of a group? You got to feed more people into your cycle. Does that make sense? Now, if you were talking to you 20 years ago, what would you tell you about getting out and circulating? Yes. You have to meet strangers. You have to meet new people. You have to put yourself in position to sell to new people. Does that make sense? Now, let's say you were coaching me, and I said, I don't like the fact that we have this beautiful greatness factory and not enough business people in Rutherford County are here. What would you tell me to do? Would you tell me to sit in here and do nothing, or would you tell me to get my butt out there and go over there and talk to the salon beside me and talk to Red Robin, their managers, talk to the First Watch, their manager, and would you tell me to go over to the medical clinic, talk to their people, and would you tell me to go over there and say, look, why don't y'all come down to the greatness factory because we're training people? Is that what you tell me to do, yes or no? Yes. That's the same thing I'm telling you to do. Get out, and so every day I got a hit list. Okay, I'm calling on that person. I'm calling on that person. I'm calling on that person. I may pick up the phone and call Gordon Ferguson and say, hey, look, I don't know who's handling your training over there, but hey, I'd like to be involved. At one time I've trained all of your managers. Oh yeah, we definitely need some training, coach. This department needs some training bad because the customer service is not where it needs to be, and we need to get, okay, great, let's schedule a meeting. That's initiating a hit list. Everybody see that? Now, does anybody have confusion about this? Because tonight, before you go to bed, what are you going to create for tomorrow? And that hit list should be how many people? Mine's 3 to 7. If you're trying to make more money, I think you need more people than that. I have 3 to 7, but all of mine are Blue Marlins. That means they're big deals. My salespeople have a lot more than 3 to 7. You see what I'm saying? So you may say, I need 10 people a day that I'm presenting an idea to. Okay? So what's my contact? I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call them. I'm going to make contact. First thing I do is I build rapport with people. So I'm talking to a guy this morning, and he said, man, I just got done working out. You know, I said, what gym do you work out at? Well, I work out at Lifetime Fitness. Okay, yeah, good. Well, he said, coach, where do you go? I go to 9 Round. Then I go to the Max some. Okay, so what do you do? What do you like about the gym? Then we build a little rapport. That's rapport building, just talking to people. Then I do discovery. So I ask questions, right? Like when you saw me speak, what did you like the most? Well, I like this. Okay, where do you think your business is struggling the most? Right here. I do discovery. And then I pivot to my explanation of service. This is how I think we can help you. And typically I push people to something for free. Everybody understand that? I push people something. Okay, I'll be in Chattanooga. Come and see it, Chattanooga. Come and do this. Come and do this. Like for you, it could be to a meeting, right? Or let me go show you a house that I think would be perfect for you. Whatever. I share my explanation of service, and I push people to something in the future. I build rapport. Now, let's talk about call reluctance. Why would you have call reluctance? What is call reluctance? That's right. So adults have creative avoidance. You know what creative avoidance is? They get very creative at avoiding the things we have to do. Okay? Eric back there in the back. Eric, when you first started working with me, did you have call reluctance?
I wouldn't do it.
Let me tell you something. We'd have call time. We couldn't find him. I don't even know where he went to. Be hiding somewhere. He wouldn't call anybody. Scared to death to pick up the phone and make an outbound phone call. What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? What if they don't like it? What if they say no? You understand what I'm saying? This is something that can be worked out of you. You know how you work out of it? You just keep practicing, and you keep calling, and you keep getting better, and it's pure repetition. So how many phone calls do you need to be making a day? For every 30 people you talk to, only 4.8 are going to be interested. So I think you need to set a target. I'm going to make 30 in the morning. I'm going to make 30 in the afternoon. That make sense? This is not complicated. So for a lot of people, it seems complicated because it's like they don't know who to call. So they just go and like, well, who am I supposed to call? We've solved that problem because now we come into every day with what? A hit list. Every single day we come into the hit list, okay? Now, when you think about this, we believe having something to say is just as valuable as having somebody to say it to. So I want to teach you how to have something valuable to say, okay? So if you go to the explanation of services piece, we're going to get a little bit more clarity when you do call people, okay? I'm going to make a few statements, and I want you to see if you believe the same things I do. I believe people do business with other people that believe the same things they do. How many people believe that? All right, let me make a statement. I believe there's a difference between a house and a home. A house is made up of sticks and bricks, and a home is made up of memories. How many people believe that? I believe your home should be a personal oasis away from the stress and pressures of life. How many people believe that? Now, look how clear I am in my beliefs. So if I were talking to you on the phone, trying to sell you on me representing you, after I do my rapport building with you, which is just talk about life, after I do some discovery, what prompted you to call, are you happy with where you currently live? You know, if there's anything you could change with the magic wand, what would it be? Then I would say, well, Trina, I got a couple beliefs. I believe there's a difference between a house and a home. I believe a home is a personal oasis that should be a personal oasis away from the stress and pressure of life. I believe every person deserves the right to have a professional represent them when they buy, sell, build, or finance real estate. Does that sound good to you? Now, you know what Trina's going to say? Man, this guy knows what he's doing. Because of those beliefs, I chose to go into the real estate profession. Okay? Now, I was at the coffee shop yesterday over here. Were you there? You were at the coffee shop right across the street at some point? Yeah, no, right over here at this one. Okay. I don't know if it's a coffee shop or a Thai restaurant. Okay. But I heard somebody ask you why you went to NEXTHOME. I wasn't eavesdropping or anything. I just heard them say it. Okay? That's right. So I heard somebody ask you why you joined this company, and you begin to tell them. Okay? Here, the reason you joined this company is because you believe the same things they do. Yes or no? People do business with other people who believe the same things they do. So the reason I'd let you, I would give you the privilege to represent me on my real estate transaction is because you and I believe the same things. So when you get into conversations with people, you need to be able to say, here's 3 things we believe. Here's what it is I'm going to do for you. I take something really complicated and I make it simple. I take the stress and pressure out of a real estate transaction. I regulate your emotions. Everybody with me? That's what I do. I get more eyeballs on your property than anybody else does. Okay? Now you're probably wondering how I do it different than everybody else. There's really 3 ways I do it different than everybody else. Okay? Now, then you give some success stories. Oh, I just worked with somebody just like you last week that was completely satisfied with what we did. Now let me ask you a question, Trina. If I could do this for you like I've done it for all these other people, what would stop us from at least you coming down to the office or us meeting and talking about it? That's a direct ask. Everybody see that? Or, Trina, out of everything I shared with you, what piqued your interest the most? Well, I really like that one part right there. Okay, let's talk about that part. Now, without a good explanation of service, what do you say? I test real estate agents from time to time. Let me tell you what I do. I'll find a house, call on that house, and I'll ask one question. What's the price of that house? What do you think they say? They give me the price. They're like $279. I'm like, okay, thanks. See ya. See? Here's what they should say. Thank you for calling, Mr. Burt. Before I give you the price, I just got a few key questions I want to ask you because I want to make sure we're servicing you right. What's the number one reason you were interested in that subdivision? What is it specifically you like about that house? What prompted you to even want to call in about it? You're not satisfied with your current house? Right? I ask questions. That's called discovery. Because the house they called in about may not even be the house they need. Oh, I understand that you're looking for a house like this. Be happy to show it to you, right? But there's also 3 other houses that we have that I've seen in inventory that could be a potential for you. Everybody see that? Not just give the price of the house. I'm trying to dig in and get some information, okay? So I want you to, we're going to talk through this first, not write it out. I want you to tell the person at your table, This is just as much for you as it is for other people. Getting clear about what you believe and why you believe it and what you do and how you do it different is very critical to being able to position yourself in the market. Okay? Very critical. So when I have a conversation with you, I'm going to pick up pretty quick. I looked at an office building here in Murfreesboro yesterday, and it was listed at $2.9 million. And the real estate agent showed up to the appointment, and apparently he had barbecue for lunch and had a big old piece of barbecue on the side of his face. And I didn't have the heart to tell him. I just let him go through the whole meeting. And I'm thinking, you are representing a $2.9 million property. And this is the best you got. Like I asked him, how did you get this listing? Just out of curiosity, how'd you pick this one up? Right? Well, somebody from Canada had come to Nashville. They vacation in Nashville. So they got up here and built an office building that they don't even know how to rent, and they don't know how to do anything with, and now they want to get rid of it because they live in Canada. And I'm like, well, how did you get this listing? Because here's the deal. If he really knew how to sell real estate, he should be out there. There's no reason that shouldn't already sold. He should be out there every single day calling on people, business owners, people that have offices. Would you like to get out of that little office and come over here? Right? And it's got a tenant in there. So my point is, people let other people represent them that are not professional. Now, what do you think is going to happen? What if I showed up yesterday and he was super professional? Coach, let me tell you what I believe. Let me tell you why I believe it. Let me show you. Let me tell you what else he wasn't prepared for. He couldn't tell me how much they were renting the property for. I'm like, well, do you have the numbers on how much they're paying in rent every single month? How many customers do they have? Do they do this? Do they do that? Why is the parking so thin? What would be an alternative? Like, I knew more about the property than he did. You see what I'm saying? So when you are very clear about these things, like, this is what I believe. This is why I believe it. This is what I do. This is how I do it different than everybody else. These are all the people I'm doing it for. If I could do it for you, what would stop us? What happens is that's an instant credibility. People can go, you're good. And I feel comfortable, and I trust that you're good. But if you don't know these things, you seem like an amateur. And big-time people can sniff out amateurs. You follow what I'm saying? So let's work through this. I want you to give the people at your table some belief statements. What are some belief statements that you have? That if I pinned you down and say, what do you believe, you could tell me. Just talk about it at the table for just a second. Do you believe how you articulate your services? Do you believe how you articulate your services can speed up the sales cycle?
Yes.
Okay. So getting coached in how you articulate your services is very critical.
Yes, sir. Most important.
This is what I or we believe. Okay? This is why I believe it. When you use me, this is what I'm going to do. It's really 3 things I do for my clients. I regulate their emotions because this can be a very emotional experience. I get more eyeballs on properties than anybody else, and nobody in Rutherford County can negotiate better than me. See what I'm saying? These are 3 very specific things I'm going to do on your behalf. Or I'm going to take something you consider very stressful and make it seamless. Whatever it is you think you do, it's very critical for you to understand what you believe. Every action you take is driven by your beliefs. Okay? So getting clear about what you believe is very critical to this. Like, why did you get into real estate? Okay, did you get in to help people? Did you get in because you think putting a person in a home is a real important part of their life? Why did you get into it?
Money.
Okay, all right, that's why a lot of people get into it. Cashing checks and driving Cadillacs. Which is possible. You got to sell some houses. Okay? And you sell houses by solving problems. Everybody see that? Okay? So the EOS is, so if I ask you what you do, how many people have clarity about what it is they do for people? Good. That's nice. That's got a lot of conviction too. Now, you said something that I think is very important. Is it important how you communicate? High energy, lots of conviction, right? Like you're building momentum and energy in somebody. You're getting them excited. You're not just like, hey, here's what I believe. Here's why I believe it. Like getting some enthusiasm. Like, let's go. This is big. Okay? So I'm trying to get you to a point. Now, if you call people tomorrow and you call on your hit list, or you represent a person, or you're looking at representing a person. Let's say you came out to my office to present an idea to me. We're going to build rapport first. Then you can do some discovery. Then there's going to be what I call a moment of truth. And the moment of truth is when I'm like, okay, go. Like, you got my time, you got my attention. Now explain to me why I should use you. Everybody see that? Like I don't know you. Now explain to me. That's why I encourage you to lead with what you believe, not what you do. If you just go, well, we represent people when they buy or sell a house, and we got a good process, and we work for a good company, I may say, well, I've heard all that before. Right? So when I sit down with a person, like today, that was a stranger to me. I said, I believe trained people always outperform untrained people. I believe those that have a coach earn 3 and 4 times the amount of money, and I believe in playing offense versus defense. And that guy I said that to, you thought he was going to come across the table and kiss me. He believed, he's like, I love this. I love it. Let's go. How fast can you draw up a proposal? Because what do we connect on? Our beliefs. And our beliefs are down in here. So he's like, man, you're the guy I've been looking for at this bank. I'm ready to play offense. You follow what I'm saying? Now, if he didn't believe the same things I do, he'd have just sat there and went, okay, good. Put it in a proposal, draw it up, whatever the case may be. All right? So this is critical. If you underestimate this, I'm telling you, every big-time agent in the world knows how to explain their services in a world-class way, in such a way that everything's kind of pre-sold. It's like, okay, you're good, let's go. I don't have time to go interview 3 agents. Okay? I tell my wife to interview 3 people before she makes a decision on something. So I ask her, who did the best job explaining their services? And she'll go, oh, it's clear. This person is much better than that person. Okay, that's who we need to use then. Okay? So part of your assignment this month is to complete the entire thing and be able to turn that into us. Your whole explanation of service. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? What do you do? If you don't do this exercise, it's going to be an indicator to me that you ain't serious about being a professional. I'm going to put you in the amateur category. Okay? Amateurs don't want to do this. They're like, well, it's just an extra. I'm telling you guys, there's no tool I use more every day than my explanation of service. Everybody with me? Okay? There's no tool I use more than this one thing. This tells me, do I want to work with a person? Do I not want to work with a person? This one thing. Because why would I partner with somebody I don't believe the same things in? Okay? Let me give you an example. What if I believe in coming in early and staying late, and you believe in showing up late and leaving early? Then you and I ain't going to get along with each other. That make sense? I believe sales is the #1 thing of any company. We got to focus on selling all day, every day. If you don't believe it's important and you and I don't believe the same things, everybody see that? We don't need to work with each other. Doesn't make me right, by the way. Just this is what I believe. Okay? All right, let's finish with this concept. Now, when you're thinking about this, after the EOS, there's 2 things we're going to take away today. There's really 3 things we're taking away from today. Number 1, every day we come into the day, we got a what? Hit list. And a hit list represents what? New money. Who's going to initiate that new money? We are, which means we're not going to sit in the office and wait for somebody to call. We're going to pick up the phone and initiate. We're going to initiate. Could the hit list come from a current client that you're trying to sell something else to? Yes or no? Yes. If I buy properties plus buy rental properties or Airbnb properties, there's other properties you could sell me to. Not just one property. Okay? So my point is you can make more money off each person. Okay? Could my hit list come from a strategic partner? Yes or no? Yes. Should your insurance person be sending you referrals? Yes or no? Should your mortgage person be sending you referrals? Yes or no? Should your doctor be sending you referrals? Yes. I consider those people business partners. I'm like, look, you got to help me grow my business. Okay? So every day I got a hit list. For you, you got to decide how many. For me, it's 3 to 7. I think you need a minimum of 10 people. You're going to call and initiate. You're going to work on your explanation of service so you have something to say. Okay? Second thing we're going to have every day is we're going to have a farm club every day. And a farm club represents anybody who has indicated interest in your product or service. Interest is the key word. The farm club represents anybody that indicates interest. All right, let me ask you a question. If I put a lot of stuff out on Facebook and a person consistently likes my stuff and comments on my stuff, okay, could they go on my hit list, yes or no? Yes. If you're putting out a video and somebody likes your video, you ought to follow that up with a phone call. Hey, I noticed you like my video. Okay? You obviously following what I'm doing. I don't know who's representing you when you buy or sell real estate, but I'd like to sit down and talk to you about it. That's a hit list person. Well, once a person indicates interest, when do they say, yes, I don't really have a real estate agent, but I am interested at some point in buying or selling a house. Now, they are now in your what? Farm club. They are no longer on the hit list. They are now in the farm club. And the farm club represents people who have indicated interest in your product or service, but you haven't closed them. Everybody see that? How many people right now have people in their farm club? How many of you have a good number of people in your farm club? Okay? Now this, I'm glad you're shaking your head no. Let me tell you why I'm glad. Because it takes me, the reason you don't have enough people in your farm club is because you don't have enough people in your hit list. Everybody understand? The hit list feeds the farm club. So if my farm club is thin, I'm only working on a few deals. I only got 2 or 3 deals in the pipeline. I only got 2 or 3 people interested. That ain't enough deals. The hit list feeds the farm club, which is why you got to talk to so many people. Like tomorrow I'm going in there to talk to 35,000 people. We're going to be talking to people and interacting with people and exchanging with people. You understand what I'm saying? And so for 3 or 4 days, that's all I'm focused on is how many people can we talk to? How many business cards can we pick up? How many people can we exchange ideas with? How many people can we come back to Tennessee and go back to work on, right? So I'm feeding that hit list with my farm club, okay? So my farm club, people that indicated interest in my product or service, okay? Now, I'm going to be doing a full day on $1 Million Follow-Up at some point out at the Lodge. I did a full day on legacy selling yesterday. So I'm going to be doing a full day March 6th at the Lodge, okay? So if there people want to get some extra coaching, that'll be on you. But I'm doing a full day on nothing but follow-up for like 5 hours on something, okay? So that's something, if you're serious and you want to go through that, then let us know today, okay? Because I think this is a big concept. Now, let's look at this. When you're thinking about the farm club, how many people, if you closed all the people in your farm club, how many of you, that would be a significant amount of money to you? All right, so let me ask you this. If it would be that much money to you, how hard have you worked to get them off the fence? Everybody see that? See, most people say, oh yeah, if I close all these deals, it make a significant difference in my life. Well, how hard have you worked at closing the deals? My belief is simple. An object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an outside force. That's Newton's law. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted on by an outside force. Who's the outside force here? You. So when someone is in your farm club, that initiates a 7-touch follow-up. We're going to go 7 touches minimum to try to get them off the farm club. Okay? There are 2 types of touches. A linear touch, which represents a direct touch, a bold and direct touch. Now, I like to joke with people. You'll hear me say things like, look, I brought you exactly what you wanted on a silver platter. What is stopping you from moving forward? That's a bold touch. Okay? Hey, I can understand why you want to sleep on this, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say this to you. If you have to sleep on it one more night, you're not going to be able to sleep in it in the future. That's bold. That make sense? Now, some of you, as soon as you hear that, you get scared because you're like, oh, I could never be that bold. Sometimes people need to be bold. You understand? You with me? Creative tension. What's creative tension? I push you a little bit, and it's a little uncomfortable for you, right? But you needed it. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm your agent. Like sometimes I need to say things to you that are a little uncomfortable to you, like to get you across the finish line. Look, I know this is uncomfortable. I know you're emotional, but you're paying me so that I can help you get this transaction across the finish line. Everybody with me? That's a linear touch. But what if I came at you that hard every time? What would happen? That's right. If I come at you that hard, then you move into a defensive position. It's like, man, this guy's so pushy. So you can't come at people like that. It's not, especially not in the South. Now, if we were in Jersey, it'd be a little bit different. But not in Tennessee. When you push that hard on people in Tennessee, some of those people get like, oh my gosh, this is too much. So you need nonlinear touches. And a nonlinear touch is a thought-provoking contact. It's a thought-provoking touch. But it's softer. So a thought-provoking that's softer is like, hey, there's two strategies that I would use on this real estate transaction to get this thing across the finish line. Call me by 4 o'clock this afternoon, we'll talk about it. Or I just represented someone just like you last week, and we put them in a home and they absolutely loved it. Here's a testimonial video from them. That's a softer touch. Everybody with me? Okay? That's a nonlinear. I believe for every linear touch, you need 3 nonlinear touches. So for every boom, you need 3 jabs. Okay? Let me see if I could show you one. Now, I use video all the time. I like video touches. So many times, this was a guy who had not signed a contract with us, $25,000 contract. And so while I was at the lodge, I cut a video. Thank you. Okay? Now, that's a nonlinear touch. So he texts me back, I like it. That night, after that touch, here's what he says, $25K contract is signed. See you in Miami. Now, you see how that was not aggressive? I was basically doing what? Feeding him information. And I used another person that he's in the same company. He's a financial advisor for Continuum. So I said, this guy from Continuum came to my workshop today. That's called social proof. And I said, when you commit, these are the kinds of things you're going to be involved in. This is what you're going to get. That is considered a nonlinear touch. I didn't call and say, hey man, what's wrong with you? Take action. It's just a little, I called it like a little jab, boom. Right? So I just a little boom. So if I were you, I show a property, as soon as they leave, I pull up that phone and do a video. Hey, I'm looking at this property. I noticed how much you loved it. I loved it too. Just a few things for you to think about, right? There's probably going to be multiple offers on this property if we don't take action. So just want to tell you this. If I know you got to sleep on it, but don't sleep on it too long. 1 minute, boom, send it to them. Right? Like this is one of the most powerful things you can do. Now, some of you are going to say, oh my gosh, I'm scared to death of what I look like when I do this. Get over it. Get over it, because this is the world we live in. You're going to have to learn to pull that phone up and put it in front of your face and use it. This is a tool to make millions of dollars right here, okay? So, does everybody think they can do that? Everybody understand what I'm saying? So, I want to close with this. For every linear, you need 3 nonlinear touches. So, we're going 7 touches. 7 touches in the follow-up. Here's a question. How condensed should the 7 touches be? Should it be every day? Should it be 2 touches a day? What do you think?
Level of interest?
That's right. It's solely based on the intensity of the deal. If they look at it, and here's what I ask. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? Oh, I'm at 8. Okay, we need to get to work then. I'm going to be involved in your life for the next 5 or 6 days until we get this puppy across the finish line. Right? That means I may be calling you 2 times a day. Is that okay with you? What if a person says, well, I'm a 4? I understand. If I brought you something that you couldn't resist, would you move from a 4 to a 7? Most likely. Okay, good. With your permission, I'm going to follow up with you like a professional. I tell people, we're going to follow up with you like a professional. Okay? Now, what do most real estate agents do? How many times do you think they follow up? I'm telling you, I could pick up the phone right now. It'll be interesting to see. This guy from yesterday followed up with me by email, but that's the wrong thing. He should have already called me today. Coach Burt, what do you think about it? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Did you go home and talk to your wife about it? On a scale of 1 to 10, Coach Burt, how serious are you about this? Right? Like I gave him 2 or 3 things to do. Will you talk to the hotel beside it and see if we could rent parking from them because the parking spots you got ain't enough? How would you do this? What's the lease on this? How much money are they paying for the franchise? What if I wanted to buy the franchise that's in there? How much does that cost? You see all these questions? So what on $2.9 million on a commission check that big, he should have stayed up last night to solve these problems. See what I'm saying? This is how people follow up. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. He should have already had all those answers to me by this morning, and he should have called. Hey, I sent you an email. Did you get my email? Would you like to go back out? Would you like to bring your wife out there to look at it? You see what I'm saying? An object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an outside force. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay, recap. Your turn to tell me. Every day we're going to have two things. What is it? And every day we're going to have a... Okay. They should be able to ask you at any time who's on your hit list and who's in your farm club. Right? If I was your broker, you should be able to tell me at any time who's on your hit list and who's in your farm club. Who you working today? One of your prospecting hours. Who's on your hit list and who's in your farm club? Right? How many touches have you gone? If we do just these two things, these are just two parts of the selling system. Every month, we're going to be working on it. Before you come back next month, I want it typed up. I want to see your explanation of service. So you're going to bring your explanation of service with you. Everybody with me? And if you don't, I'm going to run you around the parking lot in the cold weather. Okay? Because there needs to be some kind of consequence. Okay? This is not for me, by the way. People send me their explanation services all the time, and I'm like, look, this is not for me. It's for you. Now, I'll tell you if it's good, bad, weak, strong. I'll give you feedback about that, but this is for you to get better at explaining your services. World-class people know how to explain their services in a world-class way, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Number one, let me ask you a question. Do you think out of 700 to 1,000 people that I work with a month that I like all of them? No, I don't.
So how would you
But here's my bigger point. But I don't get mad at my money. So it don't matter to me if they got a dry personality, no personality, like talking, don't like talking. Here's what I would tell you, and I think it's a very valid question. I think you still stay in touch with them if you enjoy working with them.
Absolutely.
And you say, look, first thing I want to do is apologize to you because I believe in following up after the sale and I haven't done that with you. And that's my fault. But I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. Okay, so anytime you screw something up, you need to just own it. And you need to say, John Maxwell was a guy I've always respected because he sold 60 million books. And he accidentally took a loaded handgun to the airport once. Somebody gave him a gift of a handgun. He's a speaker like me, so he travels all over the world. And somebody, as a gift, said, I want to give you this because I know you're gone a lot and your wife will be home with it. Well, he changed trips quickly and forgot that it was in his carry-on bag. And when he went to the airport, it went through there. And as soon as it started to go through there, he stopped the guy and said, there's a gun in there, which was not the right thing to say. But he was trying to tell him. Well, they arrested him. And it was on every major news channel. Major leadership author gets arrested at airport with loaded handgun. And it was a PR disaster for him. And he went the very next week and did a presentation called Stupid Hurts. And he talked about how dumb it was and what a mistake it was, and it was just an actual mistake. But he took it and turned it into a message about when we do stupid things, the first thing we ought to do is just admit it. And I thought, man, what a way to turn that around. He preached on it at his church. Like, let me tell you how dumb I was to do this. And what I learned and how humiliated I was and how embarrassed I was. And I mean, I watched that sermon and I was like, man, that's incredible. Because most people would have been trying to figure out a PR campaign to turn it around. He just come out and said, it was stupid. I'm embarrassed by it. Should have never done it. Can't even believe I did it. Here's what happened. And then he turned it into like a story. So when you screw up with your past clients, I think you need to say, look, I dropped the ball. It's my fault. I strongly believe in the follow-up, and I didn't follow up with you like I should. So I'm going to start following up with you. Everybody see that? Any other questions? Now, every month, we're going to get better. Everybody with me? And if you're not better at the end of 6 months, then either you ain't committed to what I'm telling you to do, or you ain't doing it. I'm not asking you to change everything. I'm just asking you every time to be coachable. And every time you come in, just go back and pick one thing and get better at it. Tomorrow, you better have a hit list, and you better have a farm club. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a great day.